Next, we're going to talk about some of the common myths when it comes to selling air caster technology. We typically get about 5 common things that people talk about. First one is people are concerned about the tornado effect. Is it going to blow air and debris everywhere? Stuff's going to be flying into people's eyes. And is it so loud that it's just going to terrorize our people in our factories? Real quickly on those two, you can hold a lit match next to an air caster and it won't blow it out. The amount of air film that's escaping around the perimeter is very low. As it crosses a crack, you might see a little bit of dust. It'll blow maybe an inch or two. In fact, the air caster can scoot small debris out of its way just because of the air film, but it only blows it about 1 inch to 2 inches from the perimeter. Relating to sound, you barely hear it. Sometimes when you hit a certain spot, you might get a little bit of a squeal, but never exceeding 70 decibels, never creating problems for plant or OSHA regulations. Another common myth we get is the load gonna run away and kill somebody? Is it gonna free float off and it's uncontrollable? Generally, this is why we put guide wheels in the systems and why we allow the dead man controller to cut the air caster air to operate as a brake. We've never had any industrial accidents with air caster technology. Simply by cutting the air, it comes to a stop. It is true that if you have an extremely sloped surface, it will follow the natural path of gravity. Generally though, a guide wheel or a drive system that we have put on the air caster technology prevents that from happening. Not generally a concern, as most companies have relatively flat floors. The next common myth that we run into is, do I need a larger air compressor? Most companies have sufficient air compressor capacity to handle the needs of our systems. People think that it requires massive amounts of pressure, and usually they don't even think about the CFM issue. But related to pressure, we've already talked about. Generally, we're operating about 35 PSI. The matter of CFM, though, I'm going to give you just a quick rule of thumb on how to deal with CFM calculation. 24-inch air caster handles about 12,500 pounds. If you take 4 of those in the systems, you got about a 50,000 pound capacity there. That unit uses about 15 CFM, so you multiply that by 4 for a total system capacity of 60 CFM. Rule of thumb is 60 CFM divided by 4 equals 15. That also equates to how large a horsepower of a compressor you need to run that system. Now with a storage tank in line, generally you can even run less than 15 horsepower to operate that system because it's pulling from the storage tank or pre-built up air. But if you're running directly off a air compressor without any capacity storage whatsoever, you would need a 15 horsepower compressor to run 4 24-inch air casters. Using this quick rule of thumb formula is a very easy way to size the compressor and to understand if your customer has the industrial compressor capacity to handle the air caster solution you're selling. Last thought I want to leave you with when you're selling air caster technology, don't even bother to sell air caster technology to people who aren't willing to make a floor commitment. A lot of people think that they can have a poor floor and that this is a hovercraft, and the way to solve that is just throw more air at it. But as we talked about earlier, the higher the pressure is in the bearing, the more air you're throwing at it. You've got a situation where the bearing is becoming more rigid. The more rigid it is, the less compliant it is, and the less efficient your air film is. And simply by throwing air at something, it doesn't solve the problem. And so a lot of customers will tell you that they're going to make a flooring commitment or that the floor is okay, and they think they can just overcome it by dumping more air at it, and then they have problems. So make sure you have a flooring commitment from your customer up front. Hopefully you find this video to be educational and useful, and good luck selling Airfloat air caster technology. And remember, not all air casters are created equal.